So you can sort of clear the channels. Now, if you're wondering why I'm sitting on a swing right here, it's to experience what I felt like when I was a kid at a swing in a park. But this time there is a slight bit of a difference, and rather than me telling you what it is, we're going to show it to you in a bit. But before we do that, let's just talk to the guys behind this development. It is essentially the ability to put on the Gear VR and have an experience that's going to give you motion. Now, as most of you that have been following VR know that going on the Z-axis, you can always look up, down, left, right, that's on the X and Y axis, but focusing on the Z-axis, that's depth and movement, isn't something that the VR is great at, especially the Gear VR. So I have with me two young, very creative gentlemen out here at the Troublemakers event here in Delhi, and they're going to give us a little bit of a brief about the app that they've developed. So why don't you guys just introduce yourself and tell us what you have done out here?
So I'm Vasu, I'm an experienced designer, and
I'm Ishan and I'm an experienced technologist.
So what is it that you guys have developed out here? Can you just explain it to someone who's watching this right now?
So the idea is to take you through to Sapient's got this campaign called Troublemakers, where the entire idea is to sort of think out of the box. We took that idea and put it in VR, where we literally break you out of the box to show you that there's a universe of possibilities. And the idea is then to bring you back and show you that yes, to take the next step, you've got to become a troublemaker, and that's what you have to do.
So what did you guys think of when you started designing this app, and what kind of an what were the hurdles that you faced? How was the process going through from the drawing board to reality?
so more than the process, the first thing about the conceptualization of the whole app or the experiences that people who must have experienced the VR is to actually get it out from digital and get it also happening in the physical world, which is why you also see the swing here. So that was the whole idea of doing it this way, was not just to have something moving in front of you visually, but also to sort of experience the air and the whole depth which you've been talking about, how to make that even more real and how to take the experience to the next level. That was the main concept behind it. The technology challenges is the technology.
Yeah, so considering the trajectory of a person sitting on the swing, how did you map that? Were there any hurdles that you faced? Because I'm pretty sure getting movement, vertical straight movement on the Gear VR is something that's really difficult.
So one of the main things that, one of the issues with VR, like you stated, was that you can't translate on the Z-axis. But the advantage of using this kind of a setup with the swing is that it's wave motion, or rather you've got an oscillation that's always happening. Now, there are certain properties in physics like acceleration and points of equilibrium that you can sort of use in order to streamline the way things are going in VR. So we use the sensors on the phone, no external sensors attached. And what we did is we sort of modeled our data. We try to filter it down, so we remove impulse noises and all of that. That is when someone's moving or when someone's looking around. And we made sure that the path mapped is exactly the same as the way the swing is moving. Now, because it's VR, we get to play around with height. And because your feet aren't touching the ground, we get to play around with depth. So we can take you far higher than where you were actually going on the swing. And we can give you a whole lot more depth because your feet aren't touching the bottom of on the ground. And that really adds to the entire immersion in the experience itself. Then with audio and certain sorts, a good narrative, the entire thing just sort of comes together to, I guess, give you a really good experience.
Did you have an issue with anyone who, let's say, was swinging too fast to go out of the experience, quite literally go out of the app experience? Was that ever a problem?
Funny you should say that. There was this person who'd come down to office and he almost hit the sprinkler on top because he was, it was still in a test version over there, and he said, I thought I had to break that box. And he literally went up and...
We had a different version of the visual experience running though at that time, so it wasn't moving out of the experience as such. But yeah, we've had people who've gone much higher. So in terms of the capacity or the capability of what we could do with this experience, I think it also was pretty much in sync with the whole Troublemaker campaign, which is also the emotion behind it. That like how do you disrupt things? You sort of go back 10 years in your age and you start doing what you do as a kid, or probably sort of go out there and just have a good time.
So actually, having experienced it, you start out by looking at a clock in a box in a room, and as you keep swinging, the box essentially explodes and you're in space and you have a planet behind you and a planet in front of you that explodes. The experience is quite thrilling. But coming more to a consumer perspective, this is again a futuristic, very out of the box question. Do you see people going back to parks and sitting on swings with VR headsets, getting this kind of an experience anywhere?
We did a lot of that while developing this whole app.
The hardest
So.
part was convincing the office services guys that we want to swing in office, and then they're just coming and asking you like, why? We're in IT, why? And that was a good part. But no, why not? I mean, you get to explore worlds that don't exist. You get to see things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to. I see no, I mean, I see it only as an advantage. I see it as something rather beautiful that you can really just explore worlds through different mediums of this sort.
This is, of course, an app that you've built for a very specific purpose for this campaign. Any idea for you guys to maybe build apps like this for consumers that they can go to the App Store, the Oculus Store for the Gear VR and just download it? Any plans that you guys have in the future for something like this?
It's
Not as of now, but then yes, anybody who's looking for a thrilling experience to offer as a brand, as an individual, as a service, this could definitely go a long way in getting that done.
And the place that we work at, this is of course one of the things that we're doing. We also work with projection mapping and data and machine learning and things of that sort as well. So it's one of the many experiences that we sort of work on. So while productizing one might be a fun idea, it's far more fun to dabble with all of them and really see what you can pull out of it in a creative point of view.
So I'm presuming if, let's say, a Thumbs Up was to do a campaign with you for Taste the Thunder, you'd have mountain climbing or mountain biking through VR with something similar on the motion. Just an example out of my head randomly. So that's the kind of stuff that you guys are looking at doing.
Definitely.
Yep. All right, great. Thank you so much. This was great. And if, of course, you would like to take a look at the capabilities of the Gear VR, we have a review that we are going to link in the descriptor below. It is compatible with only certain Samsung phones. So as a consumer, if you are looking to explore that, you need to be aware of that. We will catch you in another video here on Digit. It's goodbye for now.